On New Year's Eve, I prepared a whole spread, waiting for Chloe to come home. She didn't even glance at the table, just started packing a weekend bag. Her voice was cold. "I can't be here with you this year." I didn't say a word, just sat there silently, eating alone. At the stroke of midnight, Liam's first love, Ethan, posted on his Instagram story, right on schedule. It was a photo of her, leaning intimately against his shoulder, with a spectacular burst of fireworks lighting up the window behind them. The caption read, "She said if I wanted, she'd drop everything to be with me." I didn't fly into a rage or demand an explanation. I just calmly liked the post. My phone rang almost immediately. It was Liam, his voice rushed and panicked. "Don't be mad, okay? Next year, I promise I'll spend it with you." A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Too bad we don't have a next year. When Liam finally came home, the holidays were already over. I used to meet him at the entrance to our apartment complex, but not this time. A text from him popped up. "Ethan, where are you?" I was in the middle of lunch. I casually typed back, "Liam, just come up. I'm eating." A few minutes later, I was in the kitchen, washing dishes, when I heard him drag his suitcase through the door. He was out of breath, leaning against the door frame. He looked at my back and said, "I haven't eaten either. Can you make me something?" Any other time, I would have dropped everything to whip up whatever he wanted, but now I just spoke flatly. "I'm busy. There's a diner downstairs." He shot me an irritated look, but swallowed his anger. "Chloe, look, I know you're still pissed about New Year's, but can you not start with me right now? I'm starving." I finished the last plate and wiped my hands. "I'm not pissed." He didn't believe me. "Ethan's all alone in this city. It doesn't matter what we used to be. I had to be there for him, right?" "I know," I said, my tone even. Liam stared at me, trying to read my expression, then sighed with exhaustion. "This is what I'm talking about. It's so draining when you get like this. Can you please just stop with the silent treatment?" I met his gaze. "I'm not giving you the silent treatment. And you don't have to explain anything to me." He watched me for a long moment, then pulled a model airplane from his suitcase and handed it to me. He looked down at me, his voice flat. "Happy New Year." The model was unboxed, the original packaging crumpled. It was a stark contrast to the beautifully wrapped gifts Ethan was always showing off in his posts. I showed no hint of excitement, just a polite thanks. After that, I said nothing. A flicker of annoyance crossed his face. "That's it?" he asked, his voice sharp. "That's it," I replied coolly. His face hardened. He held out his hand. "Where's mine?" It finally clicked. "Oh, right, sorry, I forgot," I said with an apologetic tone that wasn't entirely sincere. "I'll just Venmo you some cash. You can buy yourself something." I pulled out my phone and sent the money. Liam's eyes widened, as if he couldn't believe I'd forgotten. Exchanging gifts on New Year's had been our thing for years, a tradition I'd always upheld, even on the years he'd forgotten mine. The air grew thick with awkwardness. I grabbed my jacket from the couch and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" he called out, his voice sharp. "Out for drinks with friends," I said and closed the door behind me, ignoring his shouts. Ever since we'd gotten together, I'd given up drinking because Liam said he didn't like it. My friends all thought I was a buzzkill. They knew I was on a tight leash and eventually stopped inviting me out. Tonight, I could finally drink as much as I wanted. A few rounds in, my buddy started giving me a hard time. "We thought you'd forgotten all about us. Now that you're tied down," one of them griped. "Don't let it happen again." I nodded, raising my glass. "From now on, you call. I'm there. No questions asked." After getting with Liam, I made him the center of my universe. My work, my life, everything revolved around him. I'd lost touch with my own friends, my own world. Looking back, it was a stupid choice. I glanced at my phone. Liam had declined the Venmo payment. It was 1 a.m. by the time I got home. I flipped on the lights and saw him sitting on the couch, waiting. For a second, I thought I was seeing things. When he saw how drunk I was, he didn't get up to help me. Instead, he shot me a look of pure disappointment. "Chloe, could you be any more pathetic?" he said, his voice dripping with contempt. "If you're jealous, just say it. Getting wasted like this just makes me lose respect for you." My head was spinning. I stumbled over to a dining chair and collapsed into it. The smell of whiskey on me made him wrinkle his nose in disgust. "Didn't I tell you I hate it when you drink?" he continued, his voice rising. "It's not what you think with Ethan. We're just friends now. You have no reason to get this drunk over him." I held my head in my hands, my vision blurry. You got it all wrong. I'm drinking because I'm happy. That set him off. His voice became shrill. That's enough. I'm trying to meet you halfway here. What more do you want? Don't push me, Chloe. I'm not a saint. My patience has limits, and I can't keep bending over backwards for you. My head was throbbing, and his voice was making it worse. I rubbed my temples. Don't get worked up. I'm just going to bed. Seeing me relent, he let out a long breath, his anger subsiding. He stood up to help me, but with the last shred of clarity I had left, I dodged his hand. I staggered into the guest room, locked the door, and ignored his knocking. I fell into a deep, heavy sleep, the most peaceful I'd had in a long time. When I woke up the next morning, Liam was on the couch, staring silently at the TV. His face was a dark storm cloud. I knew he was furious, but I didn't try to appease him. I just got ready and walked out the door. I went straight to my office and handed in my resignation. I'd only taken this job in the first place to be closer to Liam's workplace. There was no need for that anymore. My boss tried to get me to stay, but my mind was made up. A few days ago, I got a response to a resume I'd sent to a company overseas. They hired me. It was a firm I'd dreamed of working for since I was a kid, an opportunity one turned down years ago for Liam. Better late than never, I guess. After quitting, I spent the day tying up loose ends and called a friend to share the good news. He was thrilled for me, then paused. So what about Liam? Is he going with you? I gave a humorless laugh. No, it's just me. I think we're just about done. Once my work was handed off, I started getting the documents I needed for the move. Both my parents are gone, and besides a few friends, Liam was all I had here. I used to think that wherever he was, that was my home, but I didn't have a home anymore. I was like a leaf in the wind, settling wherever I landed. When I got back to the apartment, Liam was getting ready to go out. His makeup was flawless, and he was wearing a pair of short shorts that showed off his long, toned legs. He was carrying a birthday cake. I knew instantly it was Ethan's birthday. He was going to celebrate with him. He was on the phone, his voice bright with excitement. Okay, stop guessing. It wouldn't be a surprise if I told you the gift, would it? Just wait for me to get there. I couldn't hear what was said on the other end, but it made Liam giggle, revealing the little canine teeth I rarely saw anymore. That simple, genuine smile was something he never gave me. He kept laughing until he saw me standing there. The smile vanished from his lips. For Ethan, he had an endless supply of joy. For me, he couldn't spare a single smile. His expression soured. Without another word, he turned away in disgust, slipped on his shoes, and left. The sound of the door slamming shut behind him. I knew what was coming, the silent treatment. We'd been here before, and it was always because of Ethan. Every other time, it sent me into a panic, desperately trying to win him back, sending texts he'd ignore while I groveled. But not this time. I just went online, looked up a few recipes for British food, and started practicing in the kitchen. I figured I should start getting used to it. Lying in bed later, I saw a new post from Ethan's Instagram. So grateful that after all this time, you're still by my side. The first comment was from Liam's best friend, Megan. This is so sweet. I'm so happy to see Liam happy. I scrolled through the likes. All of Liam's closest friends had liked it. They never approved of me. Always saw me as the guy who got in the way of him and Ethan. They were convinced that without me, he'd be happier. Reading Liam's comment, I had to admit they might have a point. He'd written, "Everything happens for a reason." I watched their sentimental exchange without any emotion. Another one of his friends had commented, "Chloe, dude, delete this before Liam sees it. You know how he is, he'll totally lose his mind." I remember a time when I gently asked Liam to create some distance with Ethan. You know, basic respect for our relationship. His friends had called me controlling and insecure, accusing me of trying to take away his right to have friends. Liam had just stood there letting them say it, then later told me I needed to be more broad-minded. This time, I didn't give his friends the satisfaction of a reaction. I just closed the app, scrolled through TikTok, and fell asleep. Liam came home late and shook me awake, his voice sharp with anger. "Chloe, your girlfriend is out late at night, and you don't even bother to check on her? Megan's boyfriend calls her nonstop when she's out, and you, not a single text. What's wrong with you?" I stared at him, genuinely confused. What was he so angry about? I used to do exactly what he was describing, and he'd snapped at me. "I'm not a tool for you to control," he'd said. "Give me some space." I can't breathe. Now that I was giving him space, he was furious that I wasn't smothering him. I had no idea what he wanted anymore, but I didn't bring up the past. I just replied calmly, "You were out with friends." It would have been weird for me to keep calling. "You're with Ethan and the others. They're all your friends. What's there to worry about?" A look of disbelief flashed in his eyes, probably shocked that I could mention Ethan's name so calmly. It was quickly replaced by comprehension. "That Instagram post was just for old time's sake," he explained. "It didn't mean anything. Don't overthink it." I shook my head, about to speak, but he cut me off. "What are you going to say? I shouldn't have gone to his birthday party. We've known each other for 10 years. We dated for a little while, but now we're just good friends. It's a friend's birthday. Of course I was going to go." "I get it," I said, my tone understanding. "It's late. You should get some rest." Liam fell silent, studying me intently, as if trying to figure out if I was really okay with it. After a moment, he gave up. He reached out to wrap his arms around my waist, but I subtly shifted away. "Are you sleeping in the master bedroom or the guest room?" I asked quietly. Surprise flickered in Liam's eyes. He couldn't believe I'd rejected his touch, something I used to beg for. Humiliated, he stormed over to the guest room, slammed the door, and then went into the master bedroom instead. Once he was gone, I fell asleep almost instantly. It was amazing how easy it was to drift off when my mind was empty. The next morning, I got a call from one of my old college professors. He'd heard somewhere that I was moving abroad and wanted to arrange a farewell dinner. I tried to decline, but he insisted on getting some of our old classmates together for a reunion. At that point, I couldn't really say no. I shouldn't have been surprised to see Liam there that evening. After all, he'd been one of his star pupils, and sitting right next to him was Ethan. Of course, he'd even brought him to a college reunion. When Liam saw me, he motioned for me to come sit with them, but I pretended not to notice. They looked like the perfect couple. I wasn't about to get in the way of that. Ethan caught my eye and gave me a smug, triumphant smirk. Then he quickly wiped it away and replaced it with a look of feigned apology. "Chloe, hey, man, sorry to crash your reunion. I was just bored and Liam insisted I come along." Liam opened his mouth to explain, then closed it. I politely raised my glass. If the professor doesn't mind, why would I? I took a sip of my drink. During dinner, my phone buzzed repeatedly with texts from Liam. I only brought him because he had nothing else to do. Don't get the wrong idea. If it bothers you, I won't bring him next time. The last message read, "Let's go home together after this, okay?" I cleared my throat and typed back, "No thanks. You can go with Ethan." I drove. Then I put my phone away and focused on my meal, ignoring any further messages. The dinner was lively, full of laughter and old stories. At one point, our professor, his face flushed from the wine, stood up and raised his glass to me. "I remember when you were my most promising student, Chloe," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Your dream was always to study and work abroad. I never understood why you suddenly decided to stay here." He paused, his eyes twinkling. "But look at you now. You're finally doing it. You're going to achieve your dream, and I couldn't be prouder of you, son. I wish you the best of luck and a brilliant career." I smiled, feeling a wave of nostalgia, and drained my glass. Across the table, Liam was frozen, his expression stunned, as if he had just heard something impossible. "Professor, what did you just say?" Liam's voice was tight. "What do you mean, going abroad?" The professor, happy to elaborate, replied, "Oh, you didn't know? Chloe's moving overseas. If things go as planned, this is our last dinner with her for a long time. It'll be tough to see him after this." He had no idea about our relationship, so he wasn't surprised that he didn't know. Liam's eyes turned red. He shot up from his seat, grabbed my arm, and pulled me out of the restaurant. I stood with my back against the cool brick wall as he confronted me. "Going abroad?" he demanded, his voice trembling with a mix of disbelief and fear. "What is this? Why didn't you talk to me about it? Why didn't you tell me?" "Oh, that," I said, my voice distant and polite, creating a chasm between us. "Well, when I got the news, you were busy celebrating New Year's with Ethan. I didn't want to bother you." My words hung in the air. He looked embarrassed for a moment, then grabbed my hand again. "It doesn't matter. I'm your boyfriend. You're supposed to share these things with me." I nodded with a flicker of irony. I used to tell him everything, every little detail of my day, until he'd snapped, "I'm not interested in your boring updates. Stop spamming my phone with this crap." Liam sighed, a barely audible sound. After a long silence, he asked, "How long will you be gone?" I thought about it, then decided to lie. About a year. I never planned on telling him at all. Tonight was an accident. That long, he exclaimed, shocked. I looked down, confirming it with my silence. The tension crackled between us. He let out another shaky breath. Let's just go home together after this, he said, his eyes shining with hope as he waited for my answer. I was about to refuse when the door opened and Ethan stumbled out. He looked at Liam with hazy eyes, so drunk he had to lean his entire body against him for support. Liam glanced nervously at me, trying to push him off, but he was dead weight. He's just drunk, he said, his voice frantic. We never touch like this, I swear. His explanation made it seem even more suspicious. I just nodded understandingly. I know. Ethan mumbled into his hair, his voice slurred. Chloe, my head's spinning. Can you take me home? His boozy breath washed over her neck. Liam didn't flinch, just looked helpless. He'd always told me he hated the smell of alcohol, but apparently that rule didn't apply to Ethan. He ignored him and looked at me. Wait for me, okay? I'll call him an Uber, and then we can go home together. Please. Before I could answer, Ethan groaned and nuzzled his head against her shoulder, an act that seemed far too practiced and familiar. Seeing that, I spoke calmly. Don't worry about it. He clearly needs you. I can get home on my own. Liam started to protest, but I'd already turned, said my goodbyes to the professor and my friends, and walked out of the restaurant. He tried to follow, but Ethan clung to him, holding him back. I called an Uber to take me home. I'd had a few drinks myself, and my head was starting to feel fuzzy. I leaned back against the seat and watched the city lights blur past the window. Suddenly, my own vision blurred. A few tears escaped, hot against my cheeks. It was funny, really. I'd lost count of how many times Liam had ditched me for Ethan. Over time, I'd just gotten used to it. I saw a couple walking hand in hand down the street and remembered when Liam and I used to be like that. As the car pulled away, their image faded, just like my memories of us were starting to. When I got home, a text from Liam was waiting. I got Ethan home. Another one followed. He keeps throwing up. I don't think I can make it home tonight. I stared at the screen, a strange feeling washing over me. In all our years together, I think this was the first time he'd ever bothered to tell me his plans. I used to ask him simple things, like who he was meeting for dinner, and he'd accuse me of being nosy. Do I really have to report my every move to you? Don't you find this kind of relationship exhausting? After that fight, it took me days to win him back, and only after he made me promise to stop meddling in his life. I typed back a simple reply. Okay. He quickly sent another message. It's really just because he's sick and it's so late. That's the only reason I'm staying. Please don't get the wrong idea. My response was just as brief. Okay. He didn't text again after that. Later that night, I was the one throwing up in the bathroom. It wasn't just Ethan who had too much to drink. I was used to beer, but the whiskey I'd had tonight hit me hard. I was sick until the early hours of the morning before finally crawling back to bed. I tossed and turned all night and woke up with dark circles under my eyes. Liam got home around noon. I was eating some Thai takeout I'd ordered. In the past, he would have lectured me about eating that junk food, but today he actually came over to the table. Is it any good? He asked. I looked up at him, surprised, and nodded. He sat down across from me, his eyes fixed on mine. You have no idea how much work it is to take care of a drunk person. The second he sobered up, I rushed straight home. His voice was tinged with guilt, but I didn't call him on it. That must have been tough for you, I said flatly. An unnatural look crossed his face. He hadn't expected me to be so agreeable. His smile was stiff. So, my friend Megan and her boyfriend are getting engaged tomorrow. They're having a party, and they invited me. You should come with me. I looked up from my food, surprised. He'd never invited me to an event with his friends before. They all disliked me, so he always took Ethan instead. The old me would have jumped at the chance, immediately planning my outfit, but now I just continued eating my pad thai. I think I'll pass. No need to make your friends uncomfortable. Liam's smile faltered, his hand hovering awkwardly in the air. He pulled it back. You're my boyfriend. She won't have a problem with you being there. I looked at him. He actually seemed to mean it. I remembered a time when Megan was putting me down, saying how I'd never measure up to Ethan. I'd looked to Liam for help, but he'd just ignored it. When I confronted him about it later, he'd said, well, she's not wrong, is she? You're my boyfriend. You should be able to handle my friends. It's pretty pathetic that you can't. He knew perfectly well that their attitude towards me was a direct reflection of his own. I gathered the empty takeout containers. I'm busy tomorrow anyway. Maybe you should ask someone else. Liam stared at me in disbelief. He never imagined I'd turn him down so bluntly, let alone suggest he take someone else. I wasn't lying. I really was busy. There were still so many things to sort out for my move. The hope in his eyes died, and his smile disappeared completely. What are you doing tomorrow? Liam asked, a nervous edge to his voice. Maybe I can come with you. Oh, I have to go sort out some paperwork for my move abroad, I explained calmly. I really can't miss it. It's your friend's engagement party. You should be there. I'll be fine on my own. His face fell. So if you're not going, I guess I'll take Ethan, he asked, testing me. In the past, just hearing his name would have set me off. Now I just smiled. Sure, why not? He searched my face for any sign of jealousy, but found nothing. Chloe, why aren't you jealous at all? He asked, frustrated. I looked at him, finding his question odd. Didn't he used to hate it when I was jealous? What is there to be jealous of? I said, he's your good friend, and he's friends with Megan. It makes perfect sense for you to take him. He opened his mouth to say something, then closed it. Finally, he said, well then, let me drive you to your appointment tomorrow morning. I thought about it. My head still felt a bit foggy, and I didn't feel like driving. I didn't refuse. Seeing me agree, he reached for my hand, but I pulled away. He looked confused and annoyed. I didn't sleep well last night, I explained. I'm going to take a nap. You should get some rest too. Without waiting for his reaction, I walked into the bedroom and closed the door. The next morning, Liam was up early and had already made breakfast. After we ate, he grabbed his car keys to drive me. Sitting in his passenger seat felt strange. It had been a very, very long time. I remember a time it was pouring rain and I didn't have an umbrella. I asked if he could pick me up, and he'd sighed with annoyance. You're a grown man, Chloe. A little rain won't kill you. Later that day, I saw on Ethan's Instagram story that he'd driven across town to pick him up. I bought my own car after that and never rode with him again. Today, he put on music he knew I liked and tried to make small talk. I just smiled and went along with it. We hadn't been driving long when his phone rang. It was Ethan. Liam panicked, constantly glancing at me. Go ahead, answer it, I said calmly. Ethan's voice filled the car. Hey Liam, I'm already here. Come pick me up. You should just get a rideshare, he said quickly. I was genuinely surprised. Liam was actually turning Ethan down. That was a first. Ethan was clearly surprised too, but he pressed on. You know how it is, Liam. It's impossible to get a car out here. Besides, you always pick me up, he added. If you don't come get me, I'll have to walk. Liam hesitated. In the past, I would have been kicked out of the car by now. His usual line was, it's easy to get a cab from here in the city center. Ethan's place is out of the way, so I have to go get him. You can find your own way. I saw the indecision on his face and made it easy for him. Go pick him up. You can just drop me at the next corner. But what about you? He said, flustered. No, I should just take you first. I smiled. I'll get an Uber. It's fine. Just pull over here. I pointed to the side of the road up ahead. He hesitated for a second, then pulled the car over. As I got out, he called after me. I'll be home early tonight. I nodded. Are you sure you can get a ride here? He asked, looking worried. If not, I can just tell him no. I looked back at him. It's fine. You should go. You don't want to be late. His car sped off, leaving a trail of exhaust. I got my paperwork done and checked the date on my phone. 10 days. In 10 days, I'd be gone. Back home. I was scrolling through my phone when I saw a TikTok for the engagement party. In a video, Megan and her fiancé were kissing passionately, while the crowd started chanting for Liam and Ethan to do the same. Megan laughed and said to Liam, your turn next. Liam, you got a great guy right there beside you. Don't let him get away. She glanced meaningfully at Ethan, who just smiled and nodded. In the video, Liam just looked distracted and uncomfortable. Just then, a text came through from him. Chloe, did you see that video? They were just messing around. It was a joke. Don't be mad. I replied, saw it. It was just a joke. I'm not mad. He didn't text back after that, and he didn't come home early. I didn't wait up for him. I just ate dinner and went to bed. Liam came home around noon the next day. I didn't ask where he'd been. I was sitting on the couch and just said, there's food on the table. He was taking off his shoes at the door and offered an explanation. Everyone was having such a good time last night. They wouldn't let me leave. I ended up just getting a hotel room. He used to stay out all night often, but he never once explained himself. I just grunted in acknowledgement and kept watching TV. He came and sat on the couch, rubbing his temples. When exactly are you planning to leave? Next Saturday, I said. Tickets already booked. A heavy silence fell between us. Liam was the one to break it. Chloe, I think we need to talk, he said, his voice strained. I can't live like this anymore. I looked at him, confused. What's wrong? Isn't this better? This is what he always wanted, wasn't it? For me to be more understanding, to give him space. Now that he wasn't happy. He frowned. Is this because of Ethan? I didn't say anything. He bit his lip. If you have a problem with my friendship with Ethan, I'll end it. I'll do it for you. His voice was pleading. But you have to stop being like this, so distant and cold. Please. He looked at me with desperation and hope, as if he had just made some monumental sacrifice. I spoke slowly. You're overthinking it. I honestly don't mind anymore. Who your friends are is your business. I don't have any right to interfere. It was ironic, though. I never thought he would offer to cut him off so easily. I'd argued with him, threatened to break up with him, and he'd never once considered ending his friendship with him. He stared at me, stunned. I'm making a huge compromise here. If you don't believe me, I'll call him right now. He pulled out his phone, dialed Ethan's number, and put it on speaker, holding it right in front of me. Ethan's voice came through the speaker, cheerful and familiar. Hey, Liam, what's up? Miss me already? Ethan's casual words made Liam's face flush with embarrassment and panic. Stop it, Ethan. Don't joke like that, he said sharply. He seemed taken aback by his tone. This was probably how they always talked in private. He paused, and he continued. Ethan, I think we should talk less from now on. I have a boyfriend. He sounded like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Liam, what are you saying? Say that again. He took a deep breath. I said we need to stop talking so much. Got it. His voice was louder now. A hint of understanding crept into his voice. I get it. Is your controlling boyfriend jealous again? Just ignore him. The guy's so insecure. He probably doesn't have any friends of his own, so he's jealous of ours. With every word Ethan spoke, Liam's face grew darker. I could only imagine what they said about me behind my back. That's enough, he snapped, his voice shrill. You need to remember your place. Chloe is my boyfriend, and you have no right to talk about him like that. Don't contact me again. Let's just leave it at that. He hung up, ignoring his protests. His phone started ringing again immediately, but he ignored it, looking at me with a desperate, almost pathetic expression. See? It's done. We can go back to how things were. I'll be good. I'll wait at home for you to come back from your trip. I promise. He held up 3 fingers as if swearing an oath. I was stunned. I had planned to break up with him the day I left, but it looked like I had to do it now. I opened my mouth. I don't think you'll need to wait for me. Before I could finish, he pressed his fingers against my lips. I looked at him. His eyes were red, welling up with tears. A soft dripping sound hit the floor. Liam's tears were spilling over, running down his cheeks. The old me would have been heartbroken, wiping them away, but this time I just watched. So someone like Liam could cry over me after all. Chloe, he choked out, his eyes locked on mine. Let me go with you. I'll go abroad with you. I knew what that meant for him, how big of a decision it was. His family, his friends, his entire life was here. His career was taking off. Going with me meant giving all of that up. I turned my head away. I thought I was past feeling anything, but hearing those words, why did my heart still ache so much? I'm sorry, Liam, I said, the words heavy in my mouth. I can't take you with me. He threw his arms around me, his tears soaking through my shirt. Chloe, I'll give up everything here for you. I want you. Please, take me with you. I'm a soft person, but this time I pushed him away. Liam, let's break up, I said. We're from 2 different worlds. I'm tired now. I just want to go back to my own. His tears flowed freely now, his voice hoarse. No, I don't agree. As long as I don't agree, we're not broken up. A bitter laugh escaped me. You should be happy. You never wanted to share your life with me. You hated me being involved. Well, starting today, you're free. No one's gonna bother you anymore. He grabbed my shoulders, pleading. I promise this New Year's, I'm gonna spend it with you. I gently removed his hands. Too bad, I said with a sad smile. We don't have a next year. Liam broke down completely, sobbing and clinging to me, refusing to accept the breakup, insisting he would go with me. I couldn't fight him anymore, so I finally gave in and said yes. He hugged me tightly, filled with the joy of someone who thought they'd lost everything and gotten it back. I let myself feel that one last embrace. One morning a few days later, I quietly packed my bags. I opened the bedroom door one last time and looked at Liam, still fast asleep. "Goodbye," I whispered. I took one final look around the apartment that had been our home. This would be the last time I ever saw it. I was planning to settle down in my new country for good. I took a cab to the airport and sat waiting for my flight to board. My phone buzzed incessantly with messages from Liam. "Where are you? Why aren't you answering me?" The last one read, "I'm at the airport. Where are you? I need to see you." I looked at the messages, a mist clouding my eyes. I didn't reply. I put my phone away. I didn't have the courage to see him one last time. Despite everything, he was the person I had once loved with all my heart. The message alerts kept coming, but I ignored them. I sighed and headed for the gate. A voice cut through the airport noise, shouting my name. "Chloe, you can't leave without me." It was Liam, his voice raw and desperate, as if he had used every last bit of his strength. My back went rigid, but I didn't turn around. I kept walking, straight through the boarding gate. I pulled out my phone and looked at one last message from him. "Chloe, you lied to me." A sad smile touched my lips as I typed my final reply. "You've lied to me so many times." I guess it was my turn. I thought about all the times he'd lied, telling me it was just a casual get-together with friends. No Ethan. Only for me to find out later. I remembered the sharp pain in my chest every time I discovered a new lie. I wondered if he felt that same pain now. When I landed, someone from the company was there to pick me up. They took me to a small but fully furnished apartment. I didn't reply to any more of Liam's messages. I blocked his number. There was no point in keeping in touch. He wasn't going to be a part of my new life. A year passed. I slowly got used to life in the new country and made a lot of new friends. I had finally achieved my childhood dream, but my adult dream, the one where I married Liam and we built a family together, was gone for good. One day at work, a call came through from an unknown number. It was from the States. I knew it was him, but I answered anyway. His voice on the other end was choked with sobs, like he could barely breathe. "It wasn't just for a year, was it?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Why did you lie to me?" I paused for a moment, then said calmly, "That's right. I'm not coming back." The line went dead. That call severed the last thread connecting me to Liam. I looked out my office window at the towering skyscrapers of the city. From now on, Liam and I were two parallel lines, never meant to cross again.